The galaxy had never felt so silent. Across the human colonies, lights flickered and ships drifted aimlessly. What was once a thriving civilization, stretching across hundreds of star systems, was now reduced to fragments struggling to survive. The enemy, a mysterious alien fleet known only as the Zyra, moved like a storm through space, unstoppable and merciless. No colony, no fleet, no human plan had ever worked against them. Commander Lena Ortiz stood on the bridge of the Aegis, humanity's last fully operational warship in the sector. She watched the viewscreen as the remains of a destroyed colony drifted past, its towers and habitats glowing faintly before vanishing into the void. Her hands clenched around the edge of the console. Every transmission from the colonies carried the same message: desperation. Every message carried the same truth: hope was fading. "Status report," Lena said, her voice steady even as her chest tightened. Lieutenant Raffi, the ship's communications officer, shook his head. "All colonies within range are either destroyed or under attack. Our fleets, most are gone. There are barely enough pilots to man even half the remaining ships." Lena swallowed hard. "And the Zyra?" "Closing in on the outer rim. They're hitting every planet with more force than before. We have no chance to prepare." Silence filled the bridge. It was the kind of silence that made people feel as if the darkness itself had weight. For a moment, Lena closed her eyes, imagining Earth, the homeworld that had once been the center of human civilization. The Zyra had not yet reached it, but how long before they did? How long before humanity was wiped out completely? "Commander," Raffi said softly, breaking her thoughts. "There's something strange." Lena opened her eyes. "What do you mean?" Raffi adjusted the console. A faint signal appeared on the screen. It was weak, almost lost in the background noise of the galaxy, but it carried something different, something unexpected. "It's a signal, not from any human colony or Zyra. It's alien," Lena frowned. "Can you identify it?" Raffi's eyes widened. "Yes, it's the Kralith." Lena froze. The Kralith were a species humans had learned to fear long before the Zyra appeared. Stories of their combat skills, intelligence, and unpredictability were legendary. Even the bravest human fleets had avoided them. The Kralith were dangerous, deadly, and entirely untrustworthy. She exhaled slowly. "Raffi, are we sure? As sure as we can be. Their signature matches all historical data. It's them." The bridge fell silent again. The crew knew what this meant. Humanity was out of options. The Zyra were unstoppable, the colonies were falling, and now, after years of fighting and surviving, they were forced to consider seeking help from the one species no human had ever willingly trusted. "Send a message," Lena said finally. "We have no choice. If we do nothing, humanity ends. If we do this, maybe there's a chance." Raffi hesitated. "Commander, you know what this means. The Kralith don't help for free. They don't help at all unless they see value in the species asking for aid. They test you." Lena nodded, feeling the weight of every life in the galaxy pressing on her shoulders. "Then we'll prove it. Prepare the communication array. We're making the call." Hours later, the Aegis entered Kralith space. The stars outside the viewport looked unfamiliar, distant, cold. The crew moved with quiet efficiency, but every hand trembled slightly, every breath sounded heavier. Lena walked the bridge, her eyes scanning the crew. Young pilots, engineers, and soldiers, all had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might never return. Raffi finally spoke. "The transmission is ready, Commander. It's long, careful, polite, but firm. We're asking for help, yes, but we're also showing them that humans are still capable." Lena nodded. "Send it." The signal left their ship, fading into the black, faster than any human ship could travel. They waited. Hours passed. Days. The Kralith were patient, calculating. Nothing happened at first, and doubt began to creep into the hearts of the crew. "Maybe they won't respond," whispered one young pilot, barely 16, staring at the stars. "They will," Lena said quietly, more to herself than to him. "We have to believe they will." Then, without warning, a shadow appeared on the view screen. It was enormous, a warship unlike any human design. Sleek, sharp, and dark, it seemed almost alive, gliding through space with quiet menace. Lena's breath caught in her throat. "Identify," she said. Raffi's fingers flew over the console. "It's them, the Kralith. They're approaching." The bridge was tense. Every crew member was on edge. The Kralith ship stopped in front of the Aegis, massive enough to block out distant stars. A single, deep voice echoed through their communication system, strange and commanding. "You are humans." Lena stepped forward. "Yes, I am Commander Lena Ortiz. We need your help. Our colonies are falling. The Zyra are destroying everything. We have no hope left." There was a pause, a long, unsettling silence. The Kralith voice returned, cold and analytical. "Hope is a fragile thing. You come to us because you are desperate. Why should we help you?" Lena swallowed. She knew the Kralith would test them, but she hadn't expected the bluntness, the raw challenge. "Because we can still fight. We can still learn. We can still adapt. And if you help us, we will prove ourselves worthy." The silence stretched again. Lena could hear the faint hum of the ship, the nervous shifting of her crew. She held her breath, waiting. Finally, the Kralith voice spoke again. "We will watch. You will be judged." "Judged?" Raffi asked, almost too quietly to hear. "Yes," Lena said. She straightened. "And we will prove ourselves." The Kralith ship detached a smaller craft, sending it toward the Aegis. It was a vessel of tests, Lena realized. A probe to evaluate the humans' abilities, their strategies, and their courage. The crew readied themselves. Weapons were checked, shields reinforced, and every human hand was steady despite the fear. This was no ordinary fight. This was survival, intelligence, and ingenuity against a species far more advanced and deadly than any human enemy they had faced before. Hours passed. The probe created simulations, challenges, and obstacles that tested every skill the humans had. It was exhausting, terrifying, and yet exhilarating. For the first time in months, Lena felt something stirring in her crew: determination. Humans were not supposed to survive this. The Kralith were the most dangerous species in this part of the galaxy. No one expected them to even attempt it, but humans never gave up. By the time the first test was complete, the crew was battered, tired, and anxious. Yet Lena looked at them and saw something else: hope. Not blind hope, not naive hope, but the kind of hope born from struggle and courage. The Kralith probe vanished into space as silently as it had appeared, leaving a final message. "Prepare. The true trial begins soon." Lena's chest tightened. She knew the real challenge was coming, the test that could decide the fate of humanity. And yet, she felt a flicker of something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. The Kralith ship loomed before the Aegis like a dark mountain floating in space. Its surface was sharp and angular, black metal reflecting the distant stars. It was massive, far larger than any human warship, and yet there was something alive about it. It moved with purpose, gliding silently, as if it were aware of every breath and movement of the humans below. Commander Lena Ortiz stood at the bridge, her eyes fixed on the colossal vessel. Her crew shifted uneasily around her, their nerves taut, their hands hovering over controls as if expecting the ship to attack at any moment. Lena understood their fear. The Kralith were known across the galaxy as deadly tacticians, unpredictable and ruthless, but fear could not rule them now. Humanity had no other choice. "Open a direct channel," Lena ordered. "I want to speak with them, face to face. No tricks." Lieutenant Raffi nodded and tapped the console. The view screen flickered, and suddenly a Kralith appeared, a towering figure with sharp, scaled features and eyes that glimmered like molten metal. Its body was long and muscular, covered in armor-like skin that seemed both organic and mechanical. The air seemed to grow heavier, the room colder, as the Kralith regarded them silently. "You are humans," the alien said, its voice deep and resonant, echoing in the bridge. "You are the species that calls for help after losing all hope. Lena stepped forward. Yes, I am Commander Lena Ortiz. Our colonies are under attack by the Zyra. They destroy everything they touch. We have tried everything and failed. We ask for your aid not out of pride but out of necessity. The Kralith tilted its head, observing her carefully. Why should we help you? Your species is weak, your weapons primitive. You have survived by luck, not skill. Lena did not flinch. We may be weak in numbers, but humans survive because of intelligence, creativity, and courage. We adapt. We learn. We fight when others surrender. If you watch us closely, you will see that humans are more than just luck. We are capable of greatness. The Kralith's gaze lingered, analyzing, judging. Then it spoke again. Perhaps, but words are worthless. Only actions matter. You will be tested. The crew shifted uneasily. Tests by the Kralith were never simple. They were trials designed to measure not only skill but intelligence, resourcefulness, and resilience. Every human who had faced the Kralith and failed had perished. But Lena's face was calm, her eyes steady. "We are ready," she said. "Show us the test." The Kralith raised a clawed hand, and the space around them seemed to warp. A series of holographic projections filled the bridge, displaying complex battle simulations and challenges. The first test appeared, a simulation of the Zyra fleet attacking a colony. Lena and her crew were expected to defend it. At first, it seemed impossible. The simulated fleet was enormous, fast, and intelligent. It attacked from multiple angles, using strategies humans had never encountered. The crew felt the weight of the challenge pressing down on them, their fingers flying across controls, eyes scanning every blinking light and incoming threat. "Focus on patterns," Lena said calmly. "They always repeat. Look for weaknesses." Raffi analyzed the simulation quickly. "Their attack formation, it's strong in the front but weaker on the sides. If we can flank them." "Do it," Lena ordered. "Everyone follow Raffi's plan. Fire on my mark." The humans moved like a single organism. Engineers adjusted shield frequencies, pilots maneuvered with precision, and gunners focused on critical points. Slowly, they began to push back the simulated Zyra fleet. Each move was calculated, each action coordinated. The Kralith watched silently, its molten eyes following every decision. Lena could feel the pressure. Every move mattered and every mistake would be noted. After hours of intense simulation, the human crew completed the task. They had defended the colony in ways the Kralith had not expected, using unconventional tactics, improvising on the spot, and showing creativity in the face of overwhelming odds. The Kralith did not speak immediately. Then it said, "Interesting. Your species is unpredictable. You adapt in ways we did not calculate. Perhaps you have potential." Lena exhaled quietly. "Potential is nothing without action. We are ready to act. We can prove ourselves further." The Kralith raised its hand again, and a new projection appeared, this time a more difficult challenge. It was a maze of simulations, combining battle, resource management, and strategy. Every decision could mean failure. Every choice tested intelligence and resilience. The crew worked tirelessly. Young pilots who had only ever trained on simulators now coordinated like seasoned veterans. Engineers created tools on the fly to manipulate the simulation. Even Lena, who usually stayed in command, joined in calculations and strategies, showing the crew that no one was above the challenge. Hours turned into days. Food and sleep were rationed, but the crew refused to give in to exhaustion. The Kralith continued to observe, silent and exacting. They tested humanity's limits, pushing them further than anyone had ever imagined. Through it all, Lena remained steady. She encouraged her crew, reminded them of their strengths, and reminded them why they were doing this. "Remember," she said one night as the crew huddled in the small rest area, "we are not just fighting to survive. We are proving that humanity is worth saving. Every decision we make, every risk we take, it shows who we are. And we will not fail." The crew nodded, their fatigue mixed with determination. For the first time in months, they felt like they had a purpose beyond survival. They felt like humans again. Finally, after endless trials, the Kralith spoke again. "You have survived the first phase. You are different from what we expected. You have shown intelligence, creativity, and courage. Perhaps your species is worthy of assistance." Lena's heart pounded. What do you mean?" "You will face a final trial," the Kralith said. "A test of strategy, courage, and unity. Only if you succeed will you receive our aid. Fail, and your species will be left to perish." The crew looked at Lena, their eyes wide with anticipation and fear. She met each gaze with calm determination. "We are ready," she said firmly. "Whatever it takes, humanity will prove itself." The Kralith's eyes glowed faintly. "Prepare yourselves. The final trial begins soon. You will need more than courage. You will need to think beyond what you believe is possible." As the Kralith ship receded, leaving the Aegis alone in the cold void of space, Lena looked at her crew. They were tired, exhausted, and scared, but alive. And for the first time in weeks, there was something else in the bridge: hope. Hope that humanity could survive. Hope that they could turn the tide against the Zyra. Hope that they could earn the respect of the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and maybe, just maybe, secure the future of their kind. The challenge ahead was immense. The final trial promised danger, complexity, and tests that would push every human to their limit. But Lena knew one thing: humans had faced impossible odds before. They had survived when others expected them to fail. They had adapted, learned, and fought when there was no hope. And this time, they would do it again. The Aegis moved forward through the empty stars, carrying humanity's last chance. Somewhere ahead, the Kralith were watching, waiting to judge them. And somewhere, deep in the darkness of space, the Zyra moved closer, unaware that the humans they had thought helpless were beginning to show the strength that would one day challenge them. Humanity had no hope left except for courage, intelligence, and the will to survive. And that was more than enough. The Aegis drifted silently in the shadow of the massive Kralith vessel. Outside, the stars looked cold, distant, and empty. Inside, the crew was tense, every eye focused, every mind alert. The Kralith had promised the final trial, a test that would decide whether humanity would receive their aid or be left to perish. Commander Lena Ortiz stood at the bridge, reviewing the plan one last time. She knew this trial would push them to their limits. The Kralith did not give second chances. They did not forgive mistakes. And yet, Lena felt a strange thrill. This was the moment humanity could prove itself, not with weapons, not with numbers, but with intelligence, courage, and teamwork. "Report," Lena said to Lieutenant Raffi, who had been monitoring the Kralith communications. "The trial begins in 5 minutes, Raffi replied, voice tight with tension. "The Kralith are projecting a battlefield simulation. It's massive. The Zyra fleet, just like they predicted, but even larger than any report we've received." Lena nodded. "Good. We know their tactics. We've seen their moves before. We will adapt just like we always do." The bridge lights dimmed as the Kralith projection activated. A holographic fleet appeared in front of them, stretching across space. Thousands of Zyra ships moved with deadly precision, converging on a simulated human colony. The simulation was flawless, ruthless, and terrifying. The crew gasped. Even experienced pilots were shaken. This was unlike anything they had faced before. "We have to divide their attention," Lena said, pointing at the holographic display. "Raffi, analyze their formation. Everyone else, listen carefully. This is about strategy, not just firepower." Raffi studied the projection. "Their fleet is strongest in the center. If we attack head-on, we'll be destroyed immediately. But their flanks are weaker and their support units are slower to respond. If we can bait them, we might have a chance." "Good. Execute it." The simulation began in earnest. Every crew member sprang into action. Pilots maneuvered with precision. Gunners calculated firing sequences. Engineers adjusted shields and weapon output in real time. Lena directed the operation like a conductor leading an orchestra. Every decision mattered. Every mistake could cost them the trial and humanity's chance at survival. Hours passed. The crew adapted to the simulation, learning, improvising, and thinking in ways the Kralith might never have predicted. They created diversions, feigned retreats, and set traps for the Zyra fleet. Human ingenuity was on full display. The Kralith watched silently, their molten eyes analyzing every move, measuring human potential. "You are clever," one Kralith voice finally said. "Your species uses creativity rather than strength, adaptability, courage, persistence. Perhaps you are not as weak as we believed." Lena didn't respond. She focused on the simulation, calculating the next move. They had reached a critical point. The Zyra fleet had adjusted, learning from the humans' tactics. One wrong move now could destroy the entire colony in the projection. "Listen," Lena said, her voice calm but commanding. "We cannot rely on them making mistakes anymore. We have to force the outcome. Use everything we have: strategy, surprise, coordination. Trust each other." The crew nodded. Each member knew their role perfectly. Engineers created temporary diversions in the simulation, redirecting enemy fire. Pilots executed daring maneuvers to split the fleet. Gunners targeted critical points with precision. Raffi spotted an opening. "Commander, if we redirect the outer Zyra forces toward their supply lines, we can force a collapse in their formation. It's risky, but it could work." "Do it," Lena ordered. The crew executed the plan flawlessly. The outer Zyra ships fell into the trap, their formation collapsing as predicted. Inside the simulation, the colony was safe for the moment. The Kralith observed silently. Lena could feel their gaze, cold and judging. "Interesting," they said finally. "You are not predictable. You use your intelligence and courage in ways we did not calculate, but the trial is not yet complete." The next challenge appeared instantly. The simulation shifted, and now the Zyra fleet was attacking from multiple directions simultaneously. It was faster, smarter, and more aggressive. This was the true test. The Kralith were pushing them to the edge. The crew worked tirelessly. Sweat dripped from foreheads, hands shook, voices strained. But humans adapted. They communicated, learned from mistakes, and adjusted their tactics in real time. They created unexpected strategies, using minimal resources to maximum effect. "Commander," Raffi said urgently, "we can't hold them all off. If we spread ourselves too thin, we'll fail." Lena thought quickly. "Then we don't fight them all at once. We focus on the key targets, the command ships and leaders. Take them out first, then the rest will follow." It was a bold plan, even reckless, but humans thrived on boldness. The crew executed it with precision, striking at the heart of the simulation's enemy fleet. One by one, the command ships fell, the Zyra forces collapsing around them. The Kralith remained silent for a long moment. Then they spoke, their tones slower, almost approving. "You are remarkable. You have shown intelligence, courage, and unity. You are not like other species. You think beyond strength. You adapt beyond expectation. Perhaps your species is worthy of survival." Lena allowed herself a small smile, though she did not relax. The trial was not over. The Kralith still watched, their judgment final. Finally, the simulation ended. The holographic Zyra fleet vanished. The colony stood unharmed. The Aegis Bridge was quiet, except for the crew catching their breaths, exhausted, exhilarated, and filled with pride. The Kralith appeared on the viewscreen again, this time in full form. They were taller than any human, their eyes glowing with molten fire. They regarded Lena carefully. "You have passed the final trial," the Kralith said. "Your species has demonstrated qualities that are rare in the galaxy: intelligence, courage, creativity, and adaptability. We underestimated you. We will aid you, but this is not a gift. It is a test. You have earned our respect." Lena exhaled deeply. Relief, exhaustion, and pride washed over her. "Thank you," she said simply. "We will not waste this chance. Humanity will fight, we will survive. The Kralith nodded slowly. We will provide ships, strategies, and guidance, but you must lead the fight. The Zyra will not wait. Your species must rise to its potential now, or it will fall. The crew erupted in quiet cheers. Some laughed, some cried, some hugged one another. After weeks of despair, they felt hope returning, not blind hope, but hope earned through struggle, intelligence, and courage. Lena walked the bridge, looking at her crew. "Listen," she said. "This is not the end of our fight. The real battle is ahead." But today we proved something. Humans survive when all hope is lost. Humans adapt when the odds are impossible. Humans can rise to any challenge. The Kralith observed silently, their judgment final and their approval rare. They had seen humanity at its limits, and humanity had not broken. As the Aegis moved to rendezvous with the Kralith fleet, Lena felt a renewed determination. The Zyra were powerful, yes, but humans had something no one could predict: courage, intelligence, and the will to survive against all odds. Somewhere deep in the galaxy, the Zyra advanced, unaware that the species they thought helpless was learning to fight back with new allies, new strategies, and new hope. Lena turned to her crew. "Prepare yourselves. The battle for humanity begins now. We have earned our allies, and we will show the galaxy what humans are capable of. No matter the cost, we will survive." And for the first time in months, the crew felt it, not fear, not despair, but a burning determination. They were humans. They had faced impossible odds, learned, adapted, and triumphed. And they were ready to do it again. The Aegis and the newly allied Kralith fleet moved forward together, carrying humanity's last hope. The final battle against the Zyra was approaching, and humanity was no longer helpless. They were ready. They were capable. They were unstoppable. The Aegis glided through the void, flanked by the massive Kralith fleet. Humanity's last hope was no longer alone. For the first time in months, the crew felt strength, not fear. They had survived impossible trials, earned the respect of the galaxy's deadliest species, and now, together, they would face the Zyra, the enemy who had destroyed so much of human space. Commander Lena Ortiz stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the distant dots that marked the approaching Zyra fleet. It was enormous, thousands of ships stretching across the stars, moving with precision, speed, and deadly intent. Even with the Kralith allies, the odds were staggering. "Status," Lena ordered, her voice calm but commanding. Lieutenant Raffi scanned the displays. "They're closing fast. Their formation is tighter than ever, but we have some advantages. The Kralith ships are faster than we expected, and their targeting systems are incredible. If we coordinate correctly, we might be able to strike their command ships first and destabilize the fleet." Lena nodded. "Good. Let's make it happen. Everyone, remember what we learned. This is about strategy, intelligence, and courage, not just firepower. Human ingenuity will make the difference." The bridge crew felt a mix of fear and excitement. They had trained, tested, and survived the Kralith trials. Now all that experience would be put to the ultimate test. The Zyra fleet arrived, their ships forming a massive wall of deadly precision. The first salvo of plasma fire lit up space, and alarms blared across the Aegis. Lena's heart pounded, but she remained calm. "Divert shields to the flanks," she ordered. "Engage Kralith coordination protocols. Focus on the command ships." Human and Kralith ships moved as one. Pilots performed daring maneuvers, weaving between enemy fire. Engineers optimized shield frequencies, weapons output, and propulsion systems. Gunners targeted critical points with deadly precision. The Zyra were strong, but humans were clever, unpredictable, and now, not alone. Hours turned into tense moments as the battle raged. The Aegis led a group of human ships in a risky strike against the largest Zyra vessels. Using tactics they had learned in the Kralith simulations, the humans avoided head-on confrontation, instead striking from unexpected angles, setting traps, and exploiting weaknesses in the Zyra formation. Lena's voice rang out over the comms. Now, focus on the rear command ship. Hit it before they realize what we're doing. The human strike group moved with speed and precision. Plasma beams struck the command ship's weak points. Explosions rocked the vessel as it faltered, sending shockwaves through the Zyra fleet. "Commander," Raffi shouted, "it's working, their formation is breaking." "Yes," Lena said, eyes sharp on the displays. "Keep pushing, don't give them a chance to recover." The Kralith warriors roared in approval, their massive ships striking with deadly efficiency. But Lena knew this was not about brute strength. Humans were making the difference with intelligence and adaptability. They anticipated enemy moves, improvised strategies on the spot, and used creative solutions that the Zyra never expected. One of the human pilots, barely 17, executed a daring maneuver to distract a group of Zyra ships while engineers remotely disabled their weapon systems. Another team created a fake signal to lure enemy ships into a trap set by the Kralith. It was a battle of wits as much as firepower. Lena felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best, courageous, clever, and united. The lessons from the Kralith trials had not only prepared them, they had transformed them. Suddenly, a massive Zyra flagship emerged, larger and more powerful than any they had faced before. Its plasma cannons locked onto the Aegis. Lena's heart raced. This was the moment that could decide everything. Divert all power to the shields. "Evasive maneuvers maximum," Lena shouted. The Aegis twisted and turned, narrowly avoiding volleys of plasma fire. At the same time, Raffi and the gunners worked in perfect coordination, targeting the flagship's weak points. Humans and Kralith combined forces, creating an unpredictable attack that the Zyra could not anticipate. "Now, Commander," Raffi shouted. "Execute the plan," Lena nodded. The human pilots split into two groups, feigning retreat while Kralith ships attacked from the sides. Engineers remotely hacked the flagship systems using human Kralith technology, causing confusion and internal disruption. Explosions tore through the enemy vessel as humans and Kralith struck together. The flagship faltered, then fell. Its destruction sent shockwaves through the Zyra fleet, causing panic and disorder. One by one, their ships fell, retreating or destroyed. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Lena did not relax. "Stay focused. The battle isn't over until every threat is neutralized." Hours later, the last Zyra ships fled, their fleet shattered and broken. Humanity had survived. The Kralith fleet hovered nearby, silent observers no longer, but allies who had witnessed the humans' courage, intelligence, and determination firsthand. The Kralith leader, Thrax, appeared on the viewscreen. His molten eyes glowed with respect. "You have done what few species could. Your actions have proven your worth. Humanity is not weak. You are capable of surviving impossible odds. You have earned our respect and our assistance." Lena allowed herself a small smile. "Thank you, Thrax. We will not forget this. Humanity will continue to fight, to grow, and to protect our people. We will honor this alliance." The Kralith watched silently for a moment longer, then vanished from the viewscreen. Lena turned to her crew, her heart swelling with pride. "We did it," she said softly. "We survived against all odds. We showed that humans are clever, courageous, and unyielding. This is what it means to be human." The crew cheered, laughter and tears mingling. They had faced despair, danger, and impossible odds, and now victory. They had earned allies, preserved colonies, and proved to themselves and the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. The Aegis and the Kralith fleet moved together through the stars, ready to rebuild, protect, and expand human colonies. The Zyra had been stopped, but Lena knew the galaxy would continue to be dangerous. Yet humanity was no longer helpless. They had survived when hope was gone, adapted when odds were impossible, and risen to greatness in the face of overwhelming danger. Lena looked out at the stars, the void that had once seemed so empty now full of possibility. She thought of Earth, of the colonies, of every human who had survived against all odds. They had fought with courage, intelligence, and heart, and they had won. "Prepare for the next mission," Lena said. "The galaxy is ours to protect. Humanity has proven its worth. And we will continue to do so no matter what challenges await." The crew nodded, ready for whatever came next. They were humans. They were capable. They were unstoppable. And for the first time in months, the galaxy felt a little brighter. With no hope left, we made a final call to most dangerous species.